Good morning, everybody. So I'm a little late, 9 minutes, almost 10 minutes. But when your children call, you take the call. You know what I mean? So I spent a little time talking to my son, um, and that made me a little bit late, but that's okay. We had a good little chat, and I'll call him back when we get done with class. So, we have spent a lot of time on the etiology of obesity and weight gain. Why do you gain weight? It has nothing to do with calories, it has nothing to do with physical fitness, exercise, etc. It's a hormonal problem. And you know me, my shining protocol, the H in shining is hormone balance. If your hormones are imbalanced, there are a lot of issues for your health. One of which is weight management, weight gain, obesity, type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, chronic inflammation, chronic disease, etc., etc. So when I was researching for this class, I ran across the tapeworm diet. It's still a thing. It was proposed and actually marketed several years ago. Well, quite a few years ago. And if you want to lose weight, you can have a tapeworm, and you will do that, and you will maintain weight loss if you have a tapeworm. Not a good idea. It's still marketed. I found a way to find or to buy a capsule that has a tapeworm egg in it. FDA banned these. Say anything about who's doing it, but you can actually buy a supplement that has a tapeworm egg in it. It's a dangerous thing to do. It's not good for you. So I'm not proposing anybody get a tapeworm. And then I got looking at Scientific American. There's an article from 2019, and it's called Unexpected Clues Emerge About Why Diets Fail. And so everybody knows the yo-yo effect of diets. So all diets work until they fail. So Dr. Fung from the Obesity Code states it this way: all diets work, all diets fail. So the one point on which nearly all researchers about weight gain and weight loss and weight management agree is that the physiology of weight regain from genetics and behavior and the environment. So their statement is that we're unlikely to find any magic bullet that will lead to sustained weight loss. So it's pretty much true. If you've done a diet, you're going to lose weight if you follow it. If you don't follow it, you won't. The big issue is, can you maintain that weight loss? And almost everybody fails to do that. And so if you remember the television show, let me find it because I never watched it. The Greatest Loser, Biggest Loser. The Biggest Loser article in the New York Times in 2016 on this study on participants of the television show The Biggest Loser. And so through dieting and very intense exercise, each of those people have lost about 50 pounds during their time on the television series. A couple of them had shed more than 200 pounds. But on this 6 year, so 6 years later on a follow-up study, they found that most had regained about 2/3 of what they'd lost average, and this was about 80% of them. Okay, so it was kind of a thing. I mean, I never watched it, but it was kind of a thing for you to figure out, okay, here's how you can lose weight. So losing weight is not really that difficult. Loss. So we've talked about the hormonal obesity theory, okay? We've talked about calories, we've talked about exercise. So calories do not actually cause weight gain, okay? Restricting calories does not maintain weight loss. And while exercise is healthy and beneficial, it's a minor part of weight loss. Okay? So, what you need to realize, and what I've been pounding home for the past 3 weeks, is that insulin and to an extent cortisol, which we talked about earlier this week, is the key player in the development of obesity. And the idea for treatment is to lower insulin levels. So obesity is not a caloric imbalance, it's a hormone imbalance. It's a disease of too much insulin or a higher insulin level that's present all the time. So the treatment is to lower insulin. So it's not merely lowering calories or lowering carbohydrates or lowering sugar or lowering processed food or increasing fiber in your diet, increasing fruits and vegetables. It's a matter of doing all of these things to decrease insulin levels. So there's two main factors that lead to increased insulin levels. The first is the foods that we eat. So the certain foods raise insulin more than others. There are also foods that protect against insulin spikes. So we're going to talk about what to eat. Should we eat low calories, low carbohydrates, low fat, low animal protein, high fat, etc.? But there's an entirely separate stimulus to insulin levels that does not depend on what we eat, and that's insulin resistance. So a high insulin resistance will lead to high insulin levels. You can measure it as a fasting hormone level. You do it in the morning before you eat. So after 8 hours of fasting, if you're 20 or higher, you're insulin resistant. It's resistant. You have an easy way to get an insulin test. Your doctor probably won't order it, but there's a way to get it. Obesity literature, the internet, academic journals, and insulin resistance develops over time. So there's basically a time-dependent factor for obesity. So you typically become heavier at a rate of 1 to 2 pounds per year, even if you're watching what you eat. So we're going to discuss what to eat first. There's three major macronutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. There's healthy choices among all of those. And then we're going to discuss when to eat later on in this series. So there's an ancient cure for obesity that has been completely ignored, specifically by the USDA. So high insulin resistance over time becomes metabolic syndrome and then becomes type 2 diabetes. And then the drugs for type 2 diabetes really are not helpful. All they're doing is managing blood sugar, which you can see they're not managing total body sugar. You still have a significant amount of sugar in your body, whether or not you can measure it in your blood. Okay, so this ancient cure that's been around for eons works for type 2 diabetes. I have coached and treated people for almost 15 years probably to reverse insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, and I get them off their meds. Okay, so that's basically what we're going to discuss in this class. So management is that all diets work and all diets fail. So weight loss follows the same basic curve, so familiar to dieters the world over. So you're going to lose weight. So it can be the Mediterranean diet, the Atkins diet, the old-fashioned low-fat, low-calorie diet, etc., etc. Eat less, move more diet, you'll lose weight. So they differ by the amount of weight loss. So there's some that lead to a little more weight loss, some a little less, but they all seem to work. But at about 6 months to 1 year, the weight loss gradually plateaus, and then you get a relentless regain of weight despite continued dietary compliance. So you can keep following the diet, you're going to gain weight again. And it's regardless of what diet strategy that you choose. Okay, so in the 10-year diabetes prevention program, there's a 7-kilogram weight loss long term. So why does that happen? Well, that's because permanent weight loss is pretty much a two-step process. So there's a short term and a long term, which is time dependent problem. So we're talking about homeostasis, which is human physiology, which I teach. So the hypothalamic region of the brain sets your body weight. It's the body set weight. And that's the fat thermostat, what your weight thermostat is. So that sets body set weight from the hypothalamus. So we can use various diets to bring your actual body weight down. However, your hypothalamus so their metabolism slowed, and the body set weight, hypothalamus, is resisting long-term weight loss. Okay, so that's been shown scientifically and empirically, you all know that. So think about the thermostat in your house if you're cold. So let's say you have your thermostat set, but you're still cold, so you plug in an electric heater. The house starts to warm up. So any heater can work. That's a short-term solution to a problem. And after a while, the thermostat in your house senses the temperature's gone up, so it turns on the air conditioning. And then eventually you're cold again. So after you have a seesaw battle or a yo-yo battle, the house unless you're paying attention to the thermostat equivalent to the homeostasis in your body. So while we've adjusted the temperature of the house, we haven't adjusted the thermostat. So put that in terms of weight gain. High insulin levels set the body set weight thermostat and the hypothalamus at a weight that is too high. And then you decide to lose weight. So you do a reasonable diet that's been studied that reduces weight in the short term, a quick fix, just like the electric heater. What happens in the long term? Insulin resistance, which is time dependent. That's not been addressed, and that keeps insulin high. The body set weight is still at a very high level. Of hunger, like ghrelin, are increased, compelling us to eat. Okay, and if that doesn't work, total energy expenditure is reduced. And we reviewed that in the Minnesota starvation experience. So as metabolism decreases, it becomes harder and harder to lose weight. And eventually, after that seesaw battle, the body set weight wins. And the ultimate result is what everybody knows, weight regain. So the problem is homeostasis. You have to reset the body set weight, the thermostat of weight and fat in your body through your hypothalamus. So there's actually two separate questions. Fail. And that's the problem of insulin resistance, high insulin, metabolic syndrome, and resetting the body set weight. And that revolves, or the answer to that revolves around when to eat. So these two questions are related. They both need to be addressed to develop a comprehensive solution to weight gain and obesity. So coming up next week, we're going to talk about that in detail. So I'm going to let you go. It is sunny outside. It's kind of cool. I've got a sweater on. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you on Monday. Remember, my vitamin B12 shots are on sale. My Hercules shots are on sale. BryanJTreacymd@gmail.com, BryanJTreacymd@gmail.com, or text me at 636-891-5055 and I'll get you going. That includes a free health coaching intake consult. So we'll go through your medical history and figure out your goals and where you need to be. So I will talk to you. Hi, Shelly. I'll talk to you Monday. And we'll delve into actually how do you lose weight and how do you keep it off. That's the subject of the next probably 2 weeks. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.